What up? You guys know by now that I'm a huge Washington Wizards fan. And being a fan of the Washington Wizards involves the draft being the biggest part of my season year after year. And I hope and pray for a day where the biggest part of my year for the Wizards is the playoffs. And they're winning championships and getting done. But until that time, I will continue to make videos talking about the draft picks that they made that have gone wrong. And today, I wouldn't say that this draft pick has necessarily gone wrong entirely yet, but it has certainly gone wrong thus far. I am talking about Johnny Davis. Two very generic names, Johnny and Davis. And he's not necessarily a generic player, but he has not been a good player. Frankly, he has been pretty bad. And I don't want to put him down further because a lot of people have had negative things to say about Johnny Davis. But I am beginning to lose hope a little bit. It's not entirely gone. I'll never give up hope entirely on my guys, but it's diminishing, and it's diminishing pretty fast. So the Wizards drafted Johnny Davis in 2022 with the 10th overall pick when we were stuck in mediocrity. Finally, we've gotten out of that, and now we're just f***ing awful. But it's better to be awful in the NBA than be mediocre. So Johnny Davis is currently going into his third year, and he is coming off of a year in 2023-24 where he played even worse than he did in his first year. And maybe I shouldn't even say worse. He played less minutes. He played more games, but he was taking less shots. He was shooting a slightly higher percentage from the floor and from three, and he shot better from the free throw line, but he's just been terrible from the free throw line in both years. He hasn't shot over 59% in either year. And he went from averaging 5.8 points per game as a rookie to averaging 3 points per game as a sophomore in the league. And I just don't get it, dude. I just don't get it. I don't understand what happened, because I was expecting Johnny Davis to have a similar trajectory in the NBA as he did when he was in college. So let me bring you guys up to speed. So when Johnny Davis was in college, he attended the University of Wisconsin. He's from Wisconsin, so hometown hero type of deal, right? I love that. And he didn't have a great first year at Wisconsin. His first year at Wisconsin, he played 31 games, but he didn't start a single game, played under 25 minutes a game. But, he averaged 7 points per game, 4 rebounds, a steal, an assist, half a block. So it was decent production for a freshman, right? But he had an insane jump from his freshman year to his sophomore year. He went from averaging 7 points a game to 19.7 points per game. He also went from averaging 4.1 rebounds per game to averaging 8.2 rebounds per game. And Johnny Davis isn't the biggest guy on the court. He's 6'4", but he's pretty built. He's 200, 205. And he was shooting decent from the free throw line, almost at 80%. And, he went up, in minutes per game by about 10 minutes per game. But his three-point percentage was still not very good in his sophomore year. He was, 30.6% sophomore year at Wisconsin. But the things that I like is that 8.2 rebounds per game as a guard is so impressive to me. And I mean, I think you guys probably know by now if you've watched my other videos that I love guards that rebound. I think it's like such an undervalued skill, not just in the NBA, but like in all of basketball, because it just shows that you want to go after the ball any chance you get, right? And that is something that you really can't teach to people, because you have to be driven and motivated to make every play count and make every possession count and make your time on the court count, even if you're not scoring. You can do other things, right? And rebounding is one of those things that can really add value to your game and add value to your team. So he just hasn't been doing that in the league, right? Like his rookie year, he averaged 2.3 rebounds a game. And granted, he was only playing 15 minutes a game, but like it just seems like everywhere in his game is weak. And where is this like energy that you had previously when you were in college? Like when I see him out in the court, frankly, I don't see that same level of energy. And like I challenge Johnny Davis to like go out there and like play as hard as you possibly can. Like don't worry about the fact that you're not getting minutes. Don't worry about the fact that people have this perception of you like, you know, they think that you're a draft bust or whatever. Like you're not a bust until you're out of the league, in my opinion. You know, like I mean, maybe not truly. Like sure, there's plenty of guys that got, you know, picked top 5 overall and they've had long careers in the league, or they played 10 years in the league or whatever and they didn't live up to expectations. That's not really a bust. Sure, people can call those types of people a bust, but like you're not really a bust until you wind up being out of the league, and that's not your choice, right? And it's not because of injury either. So he's just got to like play with that energy. And I think, you know, he's going into his 3rd year now. So he's exercising that first team option year of his rookie deal. He's got one more team option year in the season after this next one in 2025-26. And frankly, if I was Johnny Davis, with the Wizards adding all this new talent, like you better play really well this year, because they might not exercise that option. Like they might not need to. If they pile up some more draft picks and they have another draft, you know, this coming year where they get 3 or 4 players, like you might not make the team. Like you might not be on the team, Johnny. And like I want Johnny Davis to succeed so badly, because I really do still think that there is something that he can change so that he's just bringing that energy to the game, right? Like be a defensive stopper. Like take pride in having that niche on the court, right? Like look at guys like Tony Allen and Avery Bradley, and you know, I don't know, you could even look at JJ Redick. Like all those guys, like Avery Bradley and Tony Allen were defensive stoppers. Avery Bradley was a pest, picking guys up full court, 94 feet. JJ Redick, a role player in his own right, where he's just hitting threes. He's one of the best off-ball movers that basketball has seen in a long time. Just like being a good role player should not have a negative connotation. And I feel like everybody kind of was like, oh, Johnny Davis is going to like, you know, he's got like star potential. But like here we are now. I don't think he necessarily has star potential anymore. I think it would be an extreme long shot if he turned out to be like an all-star caliber player after the 2 first rough years that he's had. But I think he could be a solid player. I could see him averaging 10 to 15 points a night and grabbing a couple of offensive rebounds, a couple of defensive rebounds, getting a couple of steals, maybe a block here and there. Like, just be that glue guy, be that everything guy. And like, he's in a position now where it's like there's a lot of rookies coming in under him, and he has the opportunity to really make an impact by being that vet. And frankly, just like owning up to what his situation has been, being like, I, you know, haven't panned out in the league thus far, but I'm not giving up. You're going to have good days. You're going to have bad days, right? Just like anything in life. But it's not about if you had a good day or a bad day today. It's about how do you wake up tomorrow and deal with that, knowing that this happened in the past. Do you go out there and you sulk and you know, think about the past, and that ruins your tomorrow? Or do you forget about it and put your best foot forward and try to just keep pushing and, do what you got to do, right? Because at the end of the day, it's a blessing to be in the NBA. It's a blessing to be able to play basketball for a living. And, I don't want to say that he's not taking it serious, because I don't think he's not cherishing it. I just think what I saw at Wisconsin was a guy that had a ton of energy, he had a great motor, and he was doing whatever it took to win. I haven't seen that yet. And frankly, I haven't seen him play all that much yet either. But this past season, I watched a ton of Wizards games, and I saw him regress. So I think what he needs to do is, before he starts, becoming basically like the Jerome Robinson of this class, he's gotta just go balls to the wall and have that energy. Find your niche, find your role, and then you're gonna stick around. You're gonna stick around. But this is really make it or break it time for Johnny Davis. And, I'm going to be watching games this season. You guys know I'm going to be on League Pass. You'll see me on League Pass. But Johnny Davis, man, I know you have it in you. Dig deep and bring that A game and do some crazy on the court. Because that's what I'm talking about. That's what I need to see. Let's go.